And we've gotten so much benefit from his works. We're asking Allah to bless him and to raise his rank and to preserve him and to protect him and to make things easy for him. Alhamdulillah, we appreciate him very much. The second letter is on complying with the obligations of the sacred law. The Shaykh begins, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. May Allah bless our Master Muhammad, his family and companions, and extend them a worthy salutation. All praise is due to Allah, who made following his saints success and rectification, and loving and esteeming them and following their command, profit and salvation. And two greetings to the Master of the two abodes, who said what means Islam was built upon 5 pillars: the 2 testimonies, establishing the prayer, fasting, charity, and a pilgrimage for one who is able. And may Allah be pleased with his Khalifa in the absolute sense, who said, if you hear anything from me, then weigh it on the scales of the sacred law. What it agrees with, take it. What it differs with, leave it. And then to proceed, he gets into the body of the letter. But let's just take a few moments with the introduction that we have from the Shaykh, that of course he's beginning in the name of Allah and sending prayers upon his Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then he proceeds to praise Allah and say, who made, praising Allah, all praise is due to Allah, who made following his saints success and rectification, and loving and esteeming them and following their commands, profit and salvation. Alhamdulillah, that the loving of the Shaykh and following behind the great awliya is a great blessing from Allah Ta'ala, and it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. And sometimes we have to remember that it could be a different way so we can be properly grateful for the way that it is. Because if we remember from the narrations of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we have from the great men and women that followed behind him, and then those that followed behind them, mentioning how the earth lamented to Allah at the passing of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the lamenting of the earth with the death of this prophet, particularly this Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was because there was going to be no prophet to follow after him. So the earth had enjoyed since the time of Adam alayhi salam, prophet after prophet, messenger after messenger, walking upon its back. And with this moment, it knew that this was the last time that a prophet and a messenger would walk upon its surface. And so this was a different type of mourning that the face of the earth itself had. And you can imagine if you've always kept the company of the prophets, and even if there was a gap, for example, like the gap between Isa alayhi salam and Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you knew that there was a succession. You knew, oh, I only have to wait a little time or a long time, and then another prophet where the revelation is going to be descending from the heavens onto my surface by way of a great man of Allah who is a prophet or a messenger. And that experience for the earth of getting the transmission from the heavens to descend upon its surface by way of this prophet, by way of this messenger, is a great joy and a great honor for the surface of the earth, for the earth itself. It is a great honor because it doesn't have to be that way. So when the passing of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam happens, the earth is lamenting to Allah. It is, however the earth does it, the earth is weeping, lamenting that prophethood had ceased on its surface. But Allah reassured the earth by saying, yes, but I have these awliya that will continue to walk the surface of your earth until the end. And so the joy that the earth surface itself got from receiving, and for the foot of the prophets in the foreheads of the prophets to set upon it and worshiping Allah, and for the prophets to bring about peace and justice upon its surface, that this is something that it lost. However, Allah is sufficing the face of the earth with the one after the other, him bringing the great men and women of Allah, the great friends of Allah, one after the other, onto the earth's surface, by which to preserve the light of these and the revelations and the sunnah of these great prophets and messengers, culminating in the great prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so likewise, we have to be sufficed likewise, for we don't have the opportunity to be a formal companion of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to be there sitting next to him like the companions of the prophet while the revelation is descending upon him, watching him receive revelation. We're not like Ali ibn Abu Talib, who was the Messenger of Allah was on top, sitting on top of him, where his leg was sitting on the leg of Ali ibn Abu Talib, radiallahu anhu, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his leg. And when the revelation came, he thought his thigh was going to snap. This was the weight of the revelation of Allah descending upon the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We're not privileged like them. We're not privileged like Lady Aisha, who in bed with the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was there receiving when the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was receiving revelation from Allah Ta'ala. We don't have that honor. We don't even have that honor of his great camel, the same camel that he rode entering into Mecca with the Fath of Mecca, that this camel was the best of his animals, his riding beasts, but this animal other beasts would totally buckle. They would not be able to withstand the weight of the revelation when it would descend upon them. And this particular camel is the only one that would be able to stand firm, but it would sit still and stand firm. It would become serious, and it would understand that this was the weight of the revelation, so it would be sturdy for the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we don't even have the honor of this camel to be a witness to revelation while it is happening. But Allah suffices us, and Allah is generous with us, and Allah has not left us alone, but has left us with the great men and women of his way, the great awliya, his bosom friends, to suffice us with the light of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even if we don't get the body of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so when Shaykh Ibrahim is saying here, all praise is due to Allah who made following his saints success and rectification. So we're not left astray. We're not left without anything. We're not left in a state of jahiliyyah. Because look at the people in Mecca. Obviously, Mecca in this great month of Dhul Hijjah, we're remembering the Hajj, which causes us to remember Ibrahim, which causes us to remember the building of the sacred house, which causes us to remember that it was once destroyed, which causes us to remember Adam alayhi salam originally building the house, which causes us to remember the Fath of Mecca when the house was eventually purified for the sake of the worship of Allah and Allah alone. That this whole experience, there were these gaps and the people were left astray. The people didn't have guidance. But alhamdulillah, Allah has not left us astray, even though we're not in the midst of a prophet, nor are we expecting another prophet to come. So we're not just holding space and waiting for another prophet. We're not expecting to see another prophet except for Isa alayhi salam to return to us, but he won't return to us as a prophet, but he will return to us as a wali and an assassin. So we're not expecting another prophet. But Allah, again, has sufficed us with the lights of Shaykh Ibrahim Niyas, the lights of Shaykh Ahmed Tijani, the lights of Shaykh Mahy Cisse, such that we will be able to benefit from the revelations, although we weren't witnesses to it directly. And he says, who's following his saint's success and rectification, to allow us to rectify ourselves and to give us istiqamah. As Shaykh Ibrahim mentioned, I believe it was in the Ruhu Adab, but saying the biggest karama, the biggest miracle, saintly miracle, the biggest miracle is uprightness, is to be upright, to be good, to be straight. So he's saying the biggest karama is istiqama, the great miracle. If you want to walk on water, okay. If you want to fly through the air, okay. If you want to turn, lead into gold or stone into gold, okay, mashallah, Allahu Akbar. If you want to traverse the earth in one step, like the Barak, mashallah, Allahu Akbar. If you want to be able to be in two places at one time, mashallah, Allahu Akbar. But those things pale in comparison. The person who has achieved istiqamah has achieved something that these other people who only have these other type of miraculous acts, they are deficient, and they are looking up to the one. They are looking up to the one who has achieved istiqamah. So all praise is due to Allah, who made the following saints success and rectification. So for us to rectify our affairs, and although we stray this way and we stray that way and we forget and we become lazy and we do silly things and things that harm ourselves, that the awliya and following these saints is a means by which, by following these friends of Allah, this is a means by which for us to rectify ourselves. And then he goes on to say, in loving and esteeming them and following their commands, profit and salvation. That by way of loving them and esteeming them, and if I'm not mistaken, in our last class in the Ruh Adab, or maybe it was the one before that, where, oh no, this was in another class we were doing at Kashf al-Abbas here in Atlanta, where we esteem the Shaykh, we esteem the Wali of Allah and everything about the Wali of Allah. So we esteem the Wali of Allah and his person. We may esteem his hat. We may esteem where he was born. We'll esteem where he dies. We may esteem some of his practices. That all of these things we're counting as the means of success, rectification, and profit and salvation, as Shaykh Ibrahim is mentioning here in his introduction, radiallahu anhu. So we are loving and esteeming them, and it's loving and esteeming that come together. Because out of our love for them, it causes us to esteem them, and esteeming them is a way to stoke the coals of love in the heart, to stoke the flame of love in the heart. So maybe if a person inwardly doesn't find themselves, and this is just not just with the awliya, it's with Allah himself. It's with the great Kaaba or the great city of Medina Munawwar, or whatever of the items, the material outward manifestations of the divine, these signs, these symbols. Say a person doesn't find themselves particularly inspired when they hear the Quran. They don't enjoy listening to it. Or a person finds themselves, their heart feeling dull within the presence of the awliya, or things like this. Then just esteem them. If you can't love them with a genuine love, then esteem them. Meaning, do the things of esteem, and that will help to soften the heart and the crack the outer shell, that's the callus of the heart, by which for it to become soft to love again. So do it by esteeming and respecting them and extolling them. And if you love but you don't esteem them, then also this is incomplete. So we have this love, then this love should manifest in us esteeming them. We should see in our manners, in our way, in the way that we speak to and about the Shaykh, and the way that we engage with the family of the Shaykh, the way we engage with the murids of the Shaykh, including our own selves, that we're going to esteem. And this is something very, let me finish this point before we go to the next one, that this loving is going to cause, it should cause, and this is kind of the sign if the love is true or not. The loving should cause adab, it should cause respect and esteeming, as he's saying. Now, this word esteeming in America and in the West, and I think particularly in America, we use this word esteem a lot. But the only time we use it, generally speaking, is was talking about the self-esteem, esteeming the self-esteem as the great goal of life is to have self-esteem. And if you have problems in your life, it's because you don't have enough self-esteem, or whatever the case may be. And American culture is a very sought after station of esteeming the self. Now, obviously, in our tradition, we don't make an emphasis on esteeming the self. We have, a person should have respect for him or herself and have honor and have dignity. So we're not saying that the whole idea is lost on us, but the idea of the main practice of life and the main objective in life is to raise your self-esteem, esteeming yourself. That's not really our affair. However, because inflating the nafs, this is what it's like. Esteeming the self, inflating the nafs isn't our objective. Anything we're seeking to subjugate the nafs such that the nafs operate in our best interests. That the nafs, they operate in our best interests. And so how does the nafs operate in our best interests? Now the nafs can lead one to arrogance and thinking, oh, I'm better than so-and-so and I'm better than so-and-so, looking down on people. This is of the great dangers of the nafs. For example, one of the great awliya mentioned while you're fasting, the fasting of the eyes. He said the fasting of the eyes is not just looking at, women or looking at men inappropriately. The fasting of the eyes, more than that, is not to look down on anyone. When your eyes are cast on anyone, especially of the believers and the Muslims, anyone, that you don't look down on them. And then even of the disbelieving people, if you're quote unquote looking down on them, but you know in your mind and in your heart that Allah could turn their situation such that their foot is on your neck, meaning in their rank, in their nearness to Allah Ta'ala. And just as a heads up, I'm reading from the book, so I'm not looking at the screen. So Shaykh Mahy enters, please inform me and interrupt me, please. So we aren't worried about inflating the nafs or the esteeming the self. However, in this context, and what I'm talking about how we love and esteem the Shaykh, and then by way of loving and esteeming the awliya, we want to love and esteem everything associated with the wali of Allah, including his murids. Now also, you're one of his murids. So this is a time when the nafs can work in our regard. If we see ourselves doing something unworthy of a murid of our Shaykh, you say, I'm a murid of a wali of Allah. It's not fitting for me to do this type of thing with my body. It's not fitting for me to say this type of thing. My esteem, not by way of my own nafs, but my esteem because of who I'm connected to, this is beneath me to commit sins. It's beneath me to revel in this type of whatever harmful thing a person might be engaged in. Say if a person is drinking alcohol and they have to say, hey, but wait a second, I'm a murid of my, just like I wouldn't disgrace the home of my Shaykh. I wouldn't disgrace the eating place of my Shaykh. I wouldn't disgrace the hometown of my Shaykh. No one goes to Cisse to commit sins. So all these things I'm honoring, not because they're my Shaykh himself, but it's everything associated with the Shaykh, because everything associated with the Shaykh is pointing towards the remembrance of Allah. But we can't leave ourselves out of it. So if I wouldn't disgrace the place of Cisse, then how would I disgrace this person who is connected with the Shaykh? Even though my rank is not with the Shaykh, my level is not with the Shaykh, my knowledge is not with the Shaykh, my purity is not with the Shaykh, all of those things. But neither is his hat. But I'm not going to disrespect his hat. His hat doesn't have anything with Allah. His hat doesn't have anything. It doesn't have a ruh. It's his hat. But am I going to disrespect the hat of my Shaykh? Am I going to put the hat of my Shaykh under my foot? Am I going to have the hat of my Shaykh touch any najasa or no, I'm gonna behave in a way because this is the hat of my Shaykh. So then what about the murid of your Shaykh? So his other murids, your brothers and sisters, alhamdulillah. The other disciples of the Shaykh, your brothers and sisters, alhamdulillah. But you have to count yourself amongst them and say, okay, how do I esteem the Shaykh with my own self? Because I'm connected with him. How do I esteem my own self? How do I beautify myself? How do I rectify myself? How do I dignify myself such that it's fitting, dignify myself in a fitting way to be associated with the wali of Allah Ta'ala? This is something that is a kind of self-esteem. We're talking about esteeming the Shaykh, esteeming the wali of Allah, but then by extension, it's esteeming ourselves. So it is a self-esteem, but it's based upon the wali of Allah, which is based upon Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is based upon Allah Ta'ala himself. So we should encourage this type of self-esteem. Man, I have to think to myself, I want to do this wrong thing. I say, is it fitting? Is it fitting for something connected or someone connected with the wali of Allah to do this thing or do? And if you find yourself, you do it anyway, then let that be a means by which to fuel your repentance, saying, man, I feel shame as something that's connected with the Shaykh to disgrace myself in front of Allah Ta'ala, disgrace myself in front of the Messenger of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, or disgrace myself in front of the people. And so we want to, mashallah, dignify ourselves and esteem ourselves. So again, I know we're doing a lot with one sentence. We'll move on briefly, but I just want to, just as a means of reminders and encouragement for us. So again, he's saying all praise is due to Allah, who made following his saints success and rectification, and loving and esteeming them, following the commands, profit and salvation. So this is the path, the profit and salvation is this state of loving and esteeming them, following them, and that loving should lead ourselves to esteeming, or that esteeming can lead us to loving, but either one, we want to find ourselves both loving and esteeming the wali of Allah Ta'ala. And then we're going to have the profit and the salvation by way of it. Inshallah Ta'ala, may Allah grant it to us, and may Allah forgive us for ever deviating from it or leaving it astray or leaving it behind our backs. And he continues to say, and two greetings to the master of the two abodes, who said what means Islam was built upon 5 pillars, the 2 testimonies establishing the prayer, fasting, charity, and the pilgrimage for one who is able. And Allah, end quote, and Allah be pleased with his Khalifa and his absolute sense, who said, if you hear anything from me, then weigh it on the scales of the sacred law. Then to proceed. This is a letter from the writer whose name appears at the end of this writing to all his beloveds who live in Shamin, the city of our righteous father, Ahmed Gurga, Abu Bakr Bitai, his brother Muhammad, our beloved Fajik Cham, Muhammad Mitta, Muhammad Majikin, and everyone else. I greet everyone together and individually by name. May the peace, mercy, and blessings of Allah, exalted is He, be with you all by the spiritual mediation of our master At-Tijani. It befits us to ask Allah, blessed and exalted, to rectify our and your states and inclinations, to give you and us the sweetness of faith and sincerity and slavehood, as well as upholding the divine rights, and to record you and us in the assembly of his beloveds and chosen ones. I ask him to befriend you and us, and he befriends the righteous. To proceed, our sincere lover Abu Bakr Diade has come to us from you, and may Allah reward you with good on our behalf. However, I instruct you and instruct myself to what Allah has instructed the earlier communities, and to what he has instructed you also. That is to be conscious of Allah in private and in public. And God consciousness is to follow what he has commanded and avoid what he has prohibited. And the firmest of all commands is to offer the 5 prayers in congregation at their proper times with wudu. And how strange is the one who associates himself with Allah and with our Shaykh At-Tijani, but neglects his prayer or purifying himself for the prayer, and makes tayammum for the prayer, claiming that he is excused. But an excuse is not perpetual, and it does not include a whole tribe. But to Allah we belong, and to him we return. And then he quotes Allah saying, so repent to your creator and kill yourselves. That is best for you in the sight of your creator, end quote. And so this, hopefully you remember, is from this quote from the story of Musa alayhi salam, when he went up to receive the revelation from Allah, leaving his brother Harun alayhi salam to take care of the people, Bani Israel. And during that time, he was overcome, and the people were overcome by the whispers of the one who whispers, and they made a golden calf and to worship, because they saw other people had a God, and they said, oh, we want a God like they have a God. And when Musa alayhi salam came down, this is part of the reprimanding that he gave. And so I'm making all of this to say that this isn't about suicide. So repent to your creator and kill yourselves. It's not to say to actually kill yourselves. It's talking about a tribe, a community, and some of them had apostated, and some of them were remaining with Allah and his prophet Musa alayhi salam. And then also, if we do take this as a personal and not a tribal affair, that to subjugate the voice of the nafs and to put it under one's reign, i.e. killing oneself or dying before your death, which is one of the things that we are, actually all of the men of Allah have reminded us to that. We find that in the words of Isa alayhi salam. We even find this in the words of other faith traditions among the Buddhists and among the other people. who know that the subjugation of the ego self is primary and necessary in order for one to engage with the Creator, Allah Ta'ala, in perfection. So just to give a little context for that particular verse. Now, this situation, obviously, Shaykh Ibrahim is talking about to a specific person about a specific situation. This is something we can ask Shaykh Mahy about. I'm not familiar with this particular history, but from what he's indicating, he's discouraging who he's speaking to from making tayammum for all of the prayers instead of using water, either out of a state of laziness or some other excuse that's not acceptable. And so and as you see, he says that this is an excuse made for, particular circumstances when you don't have water and you make wudu with dry earth. But he says an excuse is not perpetual and it does not include a whole tribe. And then he mentions this verse, which is the time when Musa alayhi salam comes back to this tribe, Bani Israel, and they have gone astray in his absence. And also, if you recognize here at the beginning of this, these few sentences, once he gets into this issue of the prayer, he says, how strange is the one who associates himself with Allah and with our Shaykh at-Tijani. So he's prefacing this admonition, this warning, this rectification that he's seeking to give. He's prefacing it, like what we were talking about earlier in the letter, saying, it's strange that one who associates with Allah and our Shaykh at-Tijani, meaning if you're associating yourself as a Muslim and associating yourself with Allah and His Prophet and Shaykh at-Tijani, then your self-esteem should not allow you to behave in this way. So that's the preface that he uses to give for what he is seeking to warn the people about and teach the people about. And so we'll continue from there. It is imperative that you will recite the wazifa with your brothers. If anyone leaves it even once after having received my letter, we are free from him. He is not of us and we are not of him. That is because one who is only fit to travel our path, if they act in it as we and our companions act. It is also imperative to renew one's repentances all the time and at each station. And it is also necessary to be always vigilant of Allah and with every breath acting upon his words. Take yourself to, meaning the Messenger of Allah, his words, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, take yourself to task before you are taken to task. And strive to be sincere in your dealings with your Lord and Master by not letting him find you where he has forbidden you to be, nor miss you where he has commanded you to be. And beware of committing any prohibited act. Forbidden acts conduct one to the fire. And beware of negligence, because negligence is the root of every mistake, passionate desire, and evil conduct. That is because the Haqq has said, if I reveal to anyone my names, I have required of him propriety. And if I reveal to him my perfect essence, I require of him death. Then it is imperative for you to observe the proper conduct of wayfaring. A poet said, he is destroyed who is enraptured, becomes intoxicated and sick, and does not perfect his obedience and inclines away from guidance. Whoever reaches his goal, then let him be perpetually thankful. If he does not, then the soul becomes undoubtedly doomed to perdition. End quote. And it is imperative for you, O people of Chaman, to be like the people of Kosi, the people of Taiba Jinke. I feel like I'm mispronouncing that word. They are preoccupied with the law by rejecting all else besides him, and assist one another in patience, love one another, give gifts to one another, visit one another, and be very generous to each other in Allah, for Allah, and with Allah, and assist one another in righteousness and God consciousness. And remember Allah much, that you may be successful and save yourselves and your family from the fire. So when Shaykh Ibrahim is mentioning this poem, saying, whoever reaches his goal, then let him be perpetually thankful. If he does not, then the soul becomes undoubtedly doomed to perdition. And Shaykh Ibrahim mentions also in another place where he mentions that a person through the tarbiyah of Shaykh Ahmed Tijani and the tarbiyah of the Fayda of Shaykh Ahmed Tijani, which is in the hand of Shaykh Ibrahim Inyas radiallahu anhu, and the people who take from him, the Fayda of Shaykh Ahmed Tijani and the Fayda of Shaykh Ibrahim Inyas, that this tarbiyah is, you will arrive at Allah, inshallah ta'ala. You will arrive and you will come to know Allah. But the state of knowing Allah sometimes can be so intoxicating and so illuminating and so profound that a person will think, nothing could take me away from this. Like, now that I've seen, there's no way for me to unsee what I've seen. No way for me to unknow what I know, to forget what I know. But Shaykh Ibrahim warns, saying, if you don't take care of that marifah, if you don't take care of that state, that station, then it will pass by you and it will be like a dream. And everyone's had the experience when you're in a dream, it's something that's so important, it's something that's so big, it's something that's so, and then you wake up and you can't even remember it. You can kind of feel it, maybe some flashes of it in your mind, or you can kind of feel the emotional state of the dream a little bit, and like, you know, oh, I had a scary dream, or I had this type of, like, you can just some whisper of it, but you don't have it. And it is a danger for the men and women of Allah once they reach a state or they reach a station and they feel as if there's no way for me to forget once I've known, because the knowing is so profound. And so a person can think there's no way for me to forget what I know now that I know. But if a person doesn't take care of themselves and they don't take care of this marifah, then it will pass away like a dream. And a person will say, oh, I kind of remember. Shaykh, assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you? Good, alhamdulillah, we're good. How about you?
Alhamdulillah, we're very good. We're happy to see you, Shaykh. Thank you for taking time for us, inshallah. Alhamdulillah.
Inshallah, I know we have a third time, but I just want to share some word with you and hear from you.
Thank you, Shaykh.
Yeah. Barakallah. Bismillah. Alhamdulillah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره ومقداره العظيم. رضي الله تعالى عن أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. اللهم تشاء احضر لنا به المحضر وتعطيه نورة تأتينا بضرر بعد تدخل الحداد. You say what? Read.
So I guess camera be the key.
It's not clear, he said. It's slow. Maybe you put it this way.
No, Kibi lens.
The voice?
Link.
من الأرض is اسمه بيتي يا صاحبي لا تطلب مني.
ولا من cleans lens be.
She said if you can clean it. If you can clean it.
من connection ده.
36 لا تطلب العزة ايش؟
أنا connection واجين لا يدق مباح لا يدق مباح.
Okay, alhamdulillah we go forward. لا تطلب العزة لدى الخلقين. He said, don't seek from the creation to have highest position from them, to get anything that will put you in the highest position. Don't look that from the creation without looking that from Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. No, because Izz is to be in the good position. And that is only from Allah can come. Like what Allah said, وَلِلَّهِ الْعِزَّةُ وَلِرَسُولِهِ وَلِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. So Allah and His Prophet and the believers. So whatever you can get in this life, if He never help you to be in good position with Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, it's nothing. So don't try to be big in front of the people with the something that will put you down in front of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. So you have to think about Allah with all your actions. Sometimes people, they will say this is no good, but if you show that what you're doing, you do it for Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, and you stay in the right path, don't worry about that. He said, لا تفرحن بأنعم أنعمت. Don't be glad with the favors that Allah give to you, the gift that Allah provide you. Don't be glad with that, but you have to be glad with Allah Himself if you have, sound minds. Because people, there are two different levels. Some people, their happiness with the gift that come from Allah. But it's better than that to be happy with Allah Himself. In Quran, when Allah mentioned the nation of Musa alayhi salam, say, وَاذْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ. He asked them to mention the gift from Allah, but the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he asked them to mention Allah. اذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ. That's why Shaykh Ibrahim said, فَكُلُّ نِعْمَةٍ تَزُولُ. Every favor that you get, it will end one day. But Allah who provides you the gift, He will never end. So if you be proud with Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. If you glad, be glad from Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, because Allah will never end. So if you're happy because you have good health, one day you can be sick, what are you gonna do? If you're happy because you have something in your hand, one day you will stay with empty hand. For your life, one day the life will end. But if you're happy for Allah, Allah will never end. You have Him in this life, you have Him in afterlife. That's why He said, فَذَاكَ الْبَاقِ فِي كُلِّ زَمَنٍ. لا تحقرن مسلما لا تذكره. Don't despise Muslims. Don't disrespect any Muslims. Of course, you're going to go to the highest level, not to disrespect any creation of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. Because in the hadith, Al-Khalqu kulluhum iyalullah. The creation, all of them, there's Allah's creation, there's Allah's family. Of course, Allah don't have family, but they are Allah's creation. So, أحبهم إلى الله أنفعهم لعيالي. The most beloved one among you, they are those who benefit the creation of Allah's most. Of course, after believing Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, if you believe Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, so your building start from that. You have to have good foundation so you can build. But if you don't have good foundation and you build nice building, of course, what people gonna say, this building is gonna damage any days, any time. So your foundation is your iman, billahi tabaraka ta'ala. That's why all the maqams, every good things that you're looking for, it comes after believing Allah tabaraka ta'ala. If you want to be among the awliya of Allah, the friend of Allah tabaraka ta'ala, first thing is iman. So after iman, even the good deeds, when Allah called the believers, kutiba alaykum ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykumus siyamu kama kutiba alal ladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. Who you believe, Allah makes obligation for you to fast like He make it for people. Inna alladhina amanu wa amilus salihati. Those who believe and do good things. Even Allah declares that all the human beings, they are losers, except illa alladhina amanu, those who believe in Allah, wa amilus salihati, wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr, those who believe in Allah and do good things, mean the fara'id and the nafila, the obligation and non-obligation. Wa tawasaw bil haqqi, and they advise for truth and they advise for patience. This short surah, if you have the characters of this surah, you'll be safe. That's why the Sahaba, most of the time when they have gathering, before they finish it, they will read Surah Al-Asr to remind each other how to be safe. Because Allah swear in the beginning of the surah, Wal-Asr, they said He swear on prophet time. Some people, they say He swear on the time. But we know that all the time is Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's time. And so your iman is your riches. Without iman, you cannot be among the awliya Allah. Without iman, you cannot be among the muttaqin. Ya ayyuhallazina taqullaha wabtaghu ilayhi al-wasila. Always, when Allah calls the believers, He calls them with these nice names. Who you believe in Allah. Who you believe in Allah. And then He asks you to do what you have to do after that. So for you to know that to believe only is not enough. Who you believe in Allah. Fear Allah and get wasila, like into some things that will help you to reach to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. The wasa'il that will take you to Allah. Allah mentioned different wasila. Ati'u Allah wa ati'u Rasulah. Follow Allah, obey Allah, and obey His messenger, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is Kitab Allah and Sunnah to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then He mentioned those who mention Allah, وَاصْبِرْ نَفْسَكَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ رَبَّهُم بِالْغَدَاةِ وَالْعَشِيِّ يُرِيدُونَ وَجْهَهُ. Have patience and be with those people who gathering to mention Allah and for nothing, just for Allah's sake. They do it for the sake of Allah, it's not for nothing else. So also being with the people who mention Allah day and night, also is the wasila that will help to reach to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Because the heart sometimes can be like big rocks that if you want to make it species, it will be hard for you to do it. So you need more people, you need more powers. So mentioning Allah with the groups also, that will help. It can be helpful for your heart. Being with the good people, like what Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, كنافع حكير وباعه طيب. Good companions is like good companion and bad companion is like you have a friend that selling perfume. Either he give you some, like now if you go to the store, the perfume, they allow you even to take some just to see how nice is it. So anyway, you can get from them, even if you don't buy. So they can give you or you buy from them. But if you stay with people that they firing, they can dirty your clothes or they can fire your clothes. So that is the example of being with the good people. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala said, Ya ayyuhalladhina taqullaha wa kunu ma'as sadiqina. Who you believe in Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, fear Allah and be with the truthful people. So who you believe in Allah, after believing Allah, you still need taqwa. Taqwa to follow Allah's order, to avoid Allah's forbidden. You have taqwa, but you still need have good people that you be with them. Good people, they are the people that if you forgot, they will remind you. If you remember, they will support you and help you to do. Because sometimes you can be with some people, you want to do something, oh, it's good, but let us do these things. We have only 1 hour, so we can enjoy our times. And they believe enjoy their time is only with shaitan. You can enjoy your time with connection with Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. That's what Imam al-Junayd said, that he said that the kings, if they know our kingdoms, the gift that Allah gives to us, being enjoying themselves with staying with Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, holding the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, mentioning Allah, making salat ala nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, doing good things, how they feel when they do this, even if the kings know, they will come to fight them to try to take their positions. So with taqwa, you still need good companions. Sadiqin. Say Ibrahim ibn Adham is one of the awliya of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala who lived everything in his beginning, and his father was a rich man and go to follow his Lord. So one minister, the Christians, he asked him to be with him, to be friends in the way of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. So they travel together. So when they travel and they thirsty, they need water to drink, they need food to eat. They don't have nothing in the desert. So Ibrahim ibn Adham, he want to test the guy. He say, okay, bring some from what you have. Because always Allah is kind, but especially with the good people. So when they need Allah, Allah will respond to them. So that guy is not even Muslim yet. So Ibrahim, he want to test him. He said he believed that the guy can bring nothing. He said, okay, bring something from what you have. So if you're a truthful servant of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, so you are a friend of Allah. If you ask Allah, Allah give you. So we need something to eat. So the guy, he do some praise, and Allah provide them some food and some drinks. And he's not a Muslim, so Ibrahim was very upset. So the first was with Ibrahim. The guy asked Ibrahim, bring something from what you have. So Ibrahim asked Allah, Allah provide them food and drinks, and they eat and they drinks. So they keep traveling. They need food again. Ibrahim turn to the guy and say, okay, this is your turn. Bring something from what you have. So the guy asked. So they have more food and more drinks. And Ibrahim ibn Adham was very upset about how this guy don't believe Allah, how this, he don't follow the way. The guy said, okay, eat, I will tell you what happened. I ask Allah if Ibrahim is good person, or Allah give us something to eat. So now I know that you are good persons. So now I'm ready to be Muslims. And he followed Islam of this. So for the Muslim to call to Islam, they have to correct themselves first. Be a good person. Good person, you can be with everybody. You can look to the Allah's creation as they are creation of Allah. And Allah didn't create them just for nothing. أَفَحَسِبْتُمْ أَنَّمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ عَبَثًا وَأَنَّكُمْ إِلَيْنَا لَا تُرْجَعُونَ. You think that we just created you playing? So any single creation, that's the reason why Allah created you. You don't know, think good about people. Don't say this man is this, that. No, you don't know who he is. Sometimes they can come with any form and they are good people. And they said, think good about people. Even if what you think is wrong is better than think bad about people, even if what you think is true. Because if you see somebody and say, this is the friend of Allah, if it's not a friend of Allah, you don't have any sin of that because you just think good. حسن الظن بالله وحسن الظن بعباد الله. Think good about Allah and think good about Allah's servants. Somebody you see today maybe is a bad person for what you know, but tomorrow it can be among the closest people to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Somebody you can see today, they are not believer, but Allah will bring good people from them. So Allah created them for a reason you don't know. Think good about them. حسن الظن بالله وحسن الظن بعباد الله. That's why Shaykh Ibrahim said in one of his letters, he said, if you think good about person, if it's good, Allah will reward you. If it's bad person, you don't have any sin about this. But if you think bad about good person, you have a sin. So, and you don't just see people and know what inside them. Don't judge what inside people. All what you can judge is the actions. And the actions, you are not the Lord. You are not somebody that Allah give you power to strike people and put them in the right way, even if you see them wrong. Prophet ﷺ said, مَنْ رَأَى مِنْكُمْ مُنْكَرًا فَلْيُغَيِّرْهُ بِيَدِهِ فَإِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِلِسَانِهِ فَإِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِقَلْبِهِ. If you see something bad, if you can't change it from your hand, change it from your hand, by your hand. But that is not for everybody. That's the authorities. It's not just, you see somebody doing some wrong things, you say, he do something that Allah doesn't like, I have to do this, I have to fight him. That's not your business. Try to clean your heart. Try to be a good person. When you act, make good action. وَافْعَلُوا الْخَيْرَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. Allah said, make good actions so you have good ending. If you talk, say good. وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا. Allah said, talk to the people with the nice word. When you talk to people, talk to them in a nice way. Practically, who claim that they are in Islam? Practically, who claim that they are making da'wah, calling people to Islam? Before you call people to Islam, you have to correct yourself. You have to have your action, your word, your movement, everything. From that, people, they can know that your deen is good. But If you claim that you are Muslim and you're doing wrong things, you're fighting people, you against people, when you talk, all what you talk is bad, you don't give people any hope, like you are the creators. Anybody you see, you put him in hellfire already. Hellfire is not belong to you. And these people, they are Allah's servants. Allah have mercy on them. Allah have mercy on his creations. Every Muslim can understand that, because the surah that we're reading every day, Bismillah, the first of all, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. You praying, you read Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim 17 times. Rahman, Ar-Rahim. 17 times if you don't read Bismillah in your salat. But if you read in Bismillah Rahman Rahim, so every day in your prayer, you mention Rahman Rahim 32 times. So you have to think about the mercy. You know, Allah is merciful. So if Allah is merciful, what do you think what Allah is going to do with his servants? So we have to have mercy on Allah's creation. We have to think good about them. We have to know that the best way of da'wah to be in the right way. So if people see you, even if they don't follow your deen, they can see from your action, these people, what they do is good. What they say is good. Yeah, their action is good. I remember one time I was in America with a brother Abdul Majid, in front of UN. One drunk man, he came looking for money. I give him some money. I don't think about what he's going to do, because some people, they will tell you, oh, this is drunk. You give him some money, you will help him to drink more. I don't know what he's going to do. He just need, I give him. He go and come back. Brother, are you Muslim? I say, I am Muslim. I don't do that for him to say I'm Muslim, but I was very happy when he said, are you Muslim? Just for him to know the Muslims, they are ready to share the good things that they have with their brother. Either they know them or not, either they're Muslim or they're not Muslims. We need these characters everywhere, practically, when we claim that we're calling to Islam. So you don't have to disrespect, he said, any Muslim, but you don't have to disrespect any creation of Allah. At least, if you want people to respect you, you have to respect them. If you don't even looking for reward, but if you have mercy on Allah's creation, Allah will have mercy on you. Because in Hadith, Prophet ﷺ said, Ar-Rahimuna yarhamuhum ar-Rahman, irhamu man fil ardi, yarhamukum man fis sama. Those who have mercy on people, the most merciful, who is Allah, he will have mercy on them. Have mercy on those in the earth, and who is in the sky, mean Allah have mercy on you. So if you have mercy on Allah's creation, yarhamu man fil ardi. Man fil ardi, everybody in everything in the earth is not only human being. Man fil ardi. He didn't say your relative. He didn't say Muslims. He didn't say good people. Every things in this earth, have mercy on them. So then Allah will have mercy on you. But if you fight people, they fight you. If you fight people, they fight you. You have bad things for them, they have bad against you. So let people, even if they have bad, let them to see always good things from you. You know, that's the Sufi, what they said. He said, the Sufi, they said, As-Sufi tarihun, yurma ilayhi kullu qabihin, wa la yuraminu illa kullu malihin hasan. Even Shaykh Ibrahim, he wrote a letter to Sayyid Ali, tell him, let's be garbage for people. All bad things they have, they throw on us, but they will never see from us except nice things, nice and good things. said, don't mention people false. And you have false. Allah said to Musa alayhi salam, he said, don't fear any kings while my kingdom is here and my kingdom will be here forever. Don't fear of poverty while my treasure is full and my treasure is full always. Don't mention people's fault while you have some faults and you have faults all the time. Don't stop fighting Shaitan while Shaitan fighting you, and Shaitan will never stop fighting you. Inna Shaitana lakum aduwwun fattakhidhuhu aduwwa. Allah said, Shaitan is your enemy. Consider him as the enemy. So if you consider Shaitan as the enemy, you don't follow him. Where he call you to go to drinks, that Allah asks you not to drink it, you don't follow it. If you ask you to do some zina, you don't follow it. If he asks you to kill people, you don't follow it because he's your enemy. Your enemy will never tell you something for advice. And he said, don't trust to your ending until you see yourself in paradise. Even if you see yourself in paradise, remember, your grandfather was in paradise and I take him out from paradise. So you have to keep always, no matter how good things you do, you be fearing Allah, thinking good. If you think about Allah, all what you can think is good. If you think about yourself, all what you can think is bad because you don't have nothing, you don't do nothing. So, but if you think about Allah's, Shaykh said that the people, you have two ways to think good about Allah. The highest maqam is those people who think good about Allah because when they know Allah's names and Allah's creators, characters, all his name is nice. Al-Ghafur, Al-Rahim, Al-Rahman, Al-Karim, Al-Wahhab, Al-Ghaffar. If you think about that, always you think good about him. Because if you want to see a person, they tell you, oh, he's very generous person, is very kind, he's very this. So what you think about going to see him, or what you think about him to receive nice gift from him. So look for Allah's names and Allah's characters. Al-Ghaffar, Al-Wahhab, Al-Rahman, Al-Rahim. You think good about him. If you don't get to that level, think about yourself. How many times you pass through something that you believe that will never end, and that day is finished till you forget it about it. Sometimes you can sick until you believe that nobody can give you, remedy for your sickness, and Allah will bring you back. You have some, dark nights, and Allah bring the light to you. So you think good about him. Even if you don't get to that level of those people who look to Allah's name and Allah's characters. So, but always, like what I said, don't mention the faults of people while you have the fault. Because even if you complete and you start thinking about people, the faults that can make you like them. And he said, many people you can't see with the dirty clothes, that if you see them, you don't think they are anybody. But if they swear to Allah for anything, Allah will make it. And that is from Hadith, Prophet ﷺ said. And he said, La tadurran Musliman. Don't harm any Muslim. Al-Muslimu man salima al-Muslimuna min lisanihi wa yadihi. Prophet ﷺ said that the Muslim is somebody that all Muslims safe from his hand and from his tongue. He said, even ولو ظهر ضر على يديهم, even if they harm you, forgive them, because you forgive them, Allah forgive you. You know, when they said about Sayyidina Aisha, but they said, and Sayyidina Abu Bakr, one of the people who was saying that rumors, Sayyidina Abu Bakr used to help him. He said, I will never help him again. And Allah said, أَلَا تُحِبُّونَ أَن يَغْفِرَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ? You don't want Allah to forgive you? So if you want Allah to forgive you, you have to forgive. Yeah. And he said, فَإِنَّ ذَا الْخَلْقَ, that is highest level. Because he began with, don't harm Muslim. Then he said, this creation. He didn't say even human being. He said, this creation. They are the servant of Allah. Please don't harm the servant of Allah. Because even you, if you have a servant, you don't want anybody to harm him. So don't believe that Allah will be pleased with you while you harming his servants. And he said, keep feeling sad, remembering the death. Don't ever forget about the death and about the questions that they ask you in the graves. If you think about that also, you will prepare yourself like anybody in the exams. If you know that you're going to exam tomorrow, you will review your lessons, try to know the good actions. So if you remembering that one day you will die and they will ask you their good things, scale is here for your good things and for bad things. So also you will try hard to be good. If you try, Allah will help you. May Allah help all of us. May Allah put us among the lovers of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. Allah give us heart that will accept all the creation of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala and have mercy with them and have respect for them. Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. If it's not because of anything, but they are Allah's creation. And if you want to please Allah, you have to please Him. Even the way you deal by yourself, the way you dealing with Him, the way you deal with His creation. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما خاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراط المستقيم على آله حق قدره.
Thank you, Shaykh. Jazakumullah khair. Please, Shaykh, could you renew our tariqah for us, please?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay, I renew for all of you. Allahumma salli wa barik ala Muhammad.
We appreciate you taking time so late in the night.
Barakallah, barakallah, barakallah.
Thank you, Shaykh. We love you, Shaykh.
Barakallah, barakallah.
Assalamu
Allahumma salli. Alaykum assalam wa barakatuh. Ya Sayyidi, Ya Rasulullah.
alaikum.
Salam.
Alhamdulillah. So we're concluding for now our Ruhu Adab session. Inshallah, we'll return next week again at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for class next week. Inshallah, may Allah bless all of you. May Allah keep all of you. May you all forgive me for any of my mistakes and my errors. And inshallah, we'll see you next week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.